Hello, I am Centimus Prime, and here I will be showing you Venom's Beast Armor, an alternate build I've made using the parts from the LEGO Marvel set number 76276, Venom's Mech Armor versus Miles Morales. Now, starting off, we will be taking a look at the build itself, and I'm mainly like builds, and so my inspiration to build something like this is to basically make this mech thing feel more fitting, for the character. Despite the fact that Venom really shouldn't have a mech. Regardless of that, I wanted to make it feel more fit, at least a little bit more fitting for him. I did try to change things up, build some different things, change things around to make it look more interesting, I feel. Make it look more unique, I guess. More unique. Make it feel, and of course to make it feel different compared to the original set. And so, starting off with the torso, because the head is just a minifigure head, the torso from the front is pretty much the same, only I swapped a few things around. I did move these forward and kind of have these sort of these parts sort of swing forward to lock the chest plate in place, which does a fair job, which does a pretty good job of holding it in place. But if you want to remove the minifigure from the mech torso, it's pretty simple. Just hinge these parts. Whoops. Never mind that. Just hinge these parts. Just swing these parts back a bit, and of course lift the chest plate down. And there's your minifigure. That part is the same. But I am going to keep the Venom minifigure in this mech suit. In this beast's armor suit. So you have to just close that up and swing those back into place. Does also add a little bit of spiky. Does also add a bit of sharp texturing to the top of the torso, I find. Which does help fit the chest. Helps fit the chest in with the rest of the mech's vibe, I feel. And so moving on to the back, and here we get a good look at this beast thing, at this beast mech armor from the back. And quite a bit of anti-studs, but it's fine. It does well. Unfortunately, this connection is a bit loose, this connection right here. But for the most part, this connection is fine. I do I do like how like I added these parts, like these like horn pieces onto the back and make him look to make him like look to make him like look really neat from the front. Make him look really neat. Not entirely sure about like these spikes up here. From the front, it kind of makes it look like he has horns, which can be unique, but it can also look like he has like yeah. It also looks like he has like bunny ears or something, but they look more like horns. I just added them there to make it look more spiky, for like from the front. It didn't completely not realizing that it kind of makes it look like he has horns, but oh well. Still cool. It's still neat. Also added a little bit of greebling by adding these parts back here. It's just like simple places to put these interesting parts. And that's it for the torso. Not much for the torso. It's mostly that a simple like chest plate, the like torso, like cockpit like thing that the set it has. But moving onto the legs legs where the arm should be. You have noticed that I have I basically connected like two of these SCCBS limbs on each limb to make them look more longer and make them look like triple jointed, make them look more beast-like, make them look more creature-like. Now, another inspiration I have for building this is to like actually find a way to utilize these parts in particular, because I don't really dislike these parts. I just would prefer if these parts had those hinged, you know. But regardless, they're not bad parts to use, and here's me here's me like building an alternate build using these parts, and I say it turned out alright. Now, a lot of the parts that have been added on is just very simple stuff. I'm kind of cool. I'm kind of happy with how these segments turned out. Kind of wish I can have them like displayed like this or something. Yeah, I might like try that out in a later date. Like try that in a later build. Like try to use like this sort of like build, but as like a shoulder design. I could do that. Could look cool. But anyway, moving on to these, it's just like adding simple parts on top of the SCBS limbs and all that. The feet, for the most part, is just the feet from the sets, but with a couple of modifications, I swapped that this part, I swapped a part and moved it up here to add a bit more black back here. So, and what I then did was move this part up here and changed the heel up a bit to make it look different. But aside from that, the legs are fairly, yeah, like, aside from that, the legs are very simple. Not really much to talk about. Moving down to the waist, from the, like bottom half of the build, we have this, we have this sort of waist build back here. Very, very different from how the original set looks, but also very simple at the same time. Do have these like tooth, like parts, like sticking out from the back. Find that to be kind of cool. And aside from that, it's like very simple. This part keeps coming off, but of course it is on camera, so of course it's gonna come off a bit more frequently than not. But anyway, moving down to the limbs. So I did like deliberately like give these like creepy like claw arms a double elbow joints using like these parts, which are really neat. And I do feel that it does a pretty good job at being a nice like claw arm design. And the claws themselves, while looking similar and functioning fairly similarly to the set itself, even to the point of still retaining grabbing onto the minifigure gimmick thing. It can still do that. It can still do that. It is built very differently, even to the point with even like being as different as having the thumbs like on the wrong sides. And actually I could like, and like I did. Yeah, I tried moving them down here to make it look interesting. I actually want to try like moving the thumbs to like where they were on the build and see if that's like is more interesting or not. Okay, so I have moved the thumb joint. So basically what I did was I swapped this thumb joint here with this part down here. And I did it like that to like have it closer to the sets. I don't know, it just doesn't feel quite right. Like, it doesn't feel, I don't know, it's just something like feels a bit unnatural, you know? I honestly, for this build, I honestly do prefer having the thumbs down here. So, backwards thumbs it is. So yeah, I do. See, I tried doing it like that. It doesn't work. It doesn't like feel quite right to me. So, and try them like this. Realize it does make it look a bit more unnatural and creepy looking, like just how I wanted this build to look. So next I want to talk about is articulation. Not a whole lot. You do get your minifigure head swivel. You do get your waist rotate. You still keep that waist rotation. However, like by by utilizing like because these are now the arms, you can now, by utilizing this joint, you now get a more slashing motion, which I guess is cool. Get like a more slashing motion. So that's really neat. And then the arms themselves, they have the mixel ball joint here. They have a really good range. Can move up and out. Can swivel around and do all of that. Very nice. And because of how I built to this joint, it does have a double bend at the elbow. Each segment can bend up to 90 degrees. And can even bend backwards and a little bit because of that. And just like with this set, each finger is individually articulated, and even the thumb has a rotation here, has a little rotation here at the base of the thumb, in addition to the thumb itself. Very nice. Very nice. Legs are not nearly as interesting. There's just the mixer ball joint here, at where the shoulder would normally be, and you do get decent range. You do get pretty good range of motion of that, and a mixer ball joint at the ankle, which provided you like raise this ball joint ever so slightly, you still also get a good range of movement out of that. But because of the SCCBS limbs, you're not going to get much more than that in the legs. So in terms of articulation, I say it's okay. Like, the arms I've definitely made really interesting, but the legs are just very simple. But it's what I could do with the SCCBS limbs, and I'm okay with that. So next up, thing I want to talk about with this build are the parts that were left over from building this, this beast armor. So only 5 pieces are really left over. Well, aside from like Miles Morales, but he's a hero minifigure, and to be honest, this is more so one of Miles' accessories than like a leftover part. So really, the only parts that are left over are these 4 parts here, which I tried using in a couple of places, but I couldn't really find a place to like use these like smooth rounded pieces in this spiky mech without it looking like out of place, so I decided to just leave them out. Still not that many like leftover parts. Very nice. And of course, here he is next to a minifigure. Only fitting to compare him with the minifigure that it comes with. And for another size comparison, because here he is next to the other SCCBS like Marvel mech that I own, that being the War Machine one. And you can see that he does lose some height, because these guys were originally like the same height. But you can tell that because of how I built this, it is a bit shorter, but it's also a bit wider, and it's like a bit wider with the legs, and has these like like really big claws and stuff. And if you want, and the legs could move forward, can move closer together to make it look closer to the same height, but still ever so slightly shorter. Like, the legs can still pose around in a bit. So that's nice at least. And with that, I think that would be it for this build. Not a whole lot to talk about, just something I wanted to build real quick. To like try to not only like try to see what I can do with these SCCPS limbs, but also try to make something more creature-like in this SCCPS like system. And well, also to make something that would look more like something that Venom would actually use than this. No, to be fair, given a choice, to be completely fair, I do honestly prefer the look of this mech over this one, kinda. Now, this still looks nice, and it's also nice to have elbows and all, but I still do like the look of this mech right here. Doesn't really look fitting for Venom, but I still don't dislike it. It still looks nice. It still looks nice in my opinion. And it was also, and oh yeah, and a lot of, and it's not that complicated to build and all that. And yes, I do, and with that said, I am really messing the outro up. I am feeling a bit tired. So I think that'll be like it. See, yeah, I am feeling tired, so yes, that will be it for this video. If you enjoyed this alternate build, consider to like and subscribe, and maybe even comment if you want. And of course, I will be posting again sooner or later. Man, I've been really messing up the ending of this video. Whew! I am tired. I'm going to bed now.